Dear students, good afternoon once again. We are here, myself and Dr. Pradeep Kumar, to go ahead with the third session on rural demography. As we've been doing, Dr. Pradeep Kumar takes up the substantive part, then we discuss, we pick up issues, we get into the analysis of things for the benefit of our students. As I repeated in my earlier sessions, I also repeat in this session, there should be queries to ensure our enthusiasm. Without that, these sessions would not be challenging as well as they would not be lively. If you want these sessions to be challenging and lively, please do ask us questions. Over to Dr. Pradeep Kumar.
Thank you, sir. As in the last session, sir has discussed about the migration, rural distress migration, particularly the rural-urban distress migration, and ill effects of this trend of migration, and also how the population explosion will be controlled itself with theoretical explanation. As I said, we will deal this migration part later on. Before that, I would like to introduce you the few demographic figures, current demographic figures and pictorial representation of that, and then we will discuss in detail in different themes. Earlier we given you the rural population. What are the proportion of rural population since 1901 till 2001. We also discussed the declining proportion but increasing population, rural population, as sir has nicely explained that how importance of increasing population despite of decreasing proportion. These two contradictory trends of the rural population is very important. You can see the pictorial representation of these figures, these same numbers, pictorial representation in tabular form, how it is increasing, population increasing, both total as well as rural population increasing between 100 years, the changes. So it's a very clear indication the growing trend of rural population. Next is the density, the growing trend of rural population, the decreasing trend of rural proportion. However, density shows of these two, density is clear, different states density 1991 and 2000, two different census density. If we see the all India density figures shows 214 per square kilometer, that means 214 people residing per square kilometer area, and it has changed and increased to 255 in 2001. So there is change of almost 41% per square kilometer. Similarly, the different state has different density figures. Population density, if we see, the Assam has 257, Bihar is very highest, that is 441, Kerala is 603, West Bengal is 576. So these are the figures of 1991. When we see this corresponding figure in the year 2001, that is more than 600. That is in West Bengal 674 and in Kerala 664, the highest population density in these two states, and the very low population density in the state of Rajasthan, that is 128 in 2001 and 168 in Gujarat. These are the low trends, and similarly the Madhya Pradesh also have a very low population density, that is 1002. We can see it in this pictorial representation of 2001 population density. It clearly shows the same what I said earlier. The Kerala and last West Bengal shows the highest population density. Similarly, Bihar and UP has also the high population density. But with Bihar and UP, there is the figure is included with the states like Jharkhand and Uttaranchal, which has been later on bifurcated from the erstwhile UP and Bihar. So this is the clear indication of population density changes. On the other side, MP, Rajasthan shows very low, about 100. So more than 6 times differences of population density. Now the question arises, how and why there is much variation in population density in these different states and in different years. If we see the different years in 91 and 2001, it's an increasing trend. So population pressure is growing. Even in rural areas, population pressure is growing in different parts of the country, whether it's urban, whether it is rural. Even rural area population pressure is growing, though there is a huge migration from rural areas to urban. So density is increasing. Even overall population residing in 1 square kilometer is increasing with the time. So this is the density, population density of rural population. I think it gives a very clear picture of the human demography. Next come to the sex ratio. As we discussed earlier, in rural demography, 3 things are very important. Rural population size, sex ratio, and marital status. So this is the second important thing. We must have very much aware of the sex ratio. What are the number of females in per 1,000 males? It's certainly very low. In 1901 it was 972, and that continuously go down. It shows a decreasing trend till 1981, that is 934. Not 71, sorry, 71 till 71 it shows a decreasing trend, that is 930. It's a continuously decreasing trend from 972 to 964, 955, 950, 45, and similarly 941 and 930. A continuous decreasing trend till 1971, that is 930. Thereafter we see the changes. In 1981 it has increased from 930 to 934. There is a change, that is an increase from 71 to 81, and again in 91 it shows decline, that is 927. So fluctuation starts from 1981 onwards, 1981, 1991 and 2001. It's a fluctuation from 1971. It is a 90-30, while 81 it shows 934, while 91 it shows 927, and again 2001 it shows the positive trend increasing, that is 933. These are the national all over India sex ratio. The corresponding rural population, if we look, figure is little better than this overall picture, where in 1901 it is 972, but it has 979 females per 1000 males. So it shows a better picture than the national figure. And again, the rural sex ratio also goes down like the national overall sex ratio since 1971. It goes down, decreasing trend from 979 to 949. So there is 30 female per 1000 male has decreased in 70 years. While thereafter the picture shows again the fluctuation. In 81 it goes 951. Again 91 it goes down like the national figure, and 2001 it goes up. So 81 and 2001 shows the increasing trend, and 91 shows decreasing trend, as followed in 19 till 1971. So this is a very, very important indicator. What are the proportion of females in our society, particularly the rural society? So what is this? It also indicates the status of women in our society. Does we give the proper space in our society? Why the number of females are less and their proportion is less in the population, though if we see the birth rates, the number of females are higher in takes birth than the females, higher in the males. So why there is change? Why there is a low females than their corresponding male? It shows a very distress situation. Some states shows very good picture like Kerala, which has the highest number of females, more than 1,000. That is in 1991. It is in 1991 figure shows 1,036 females per 1,000 males. So it is very important to understand the sex ratio between male and females proportion. What is the national and state-wise variation? It is an indicator of our rural development and one important component of rural demography. We can see this with one sex ratio in India graph. It shows the changing, how changes from 1901 till 2001. In 11 censuses, figure clearly shows the declining trend, except 2 years, that is the 1961, which is not uniformly declining. It's a declining, but the trend is not uniform. But overall the picture shows a declining trend, and it's a very pathetic, very distressed situation. We had to understand why there is low number of females than males. The reason is behind it has been manifold. One is the most important reason, often stressed, that neglect of girl child. Neglect of girl child, it leads to female infanticide. It practiced widely in our different states like Punjab, Bihar, Bengal, Odisha, even some parts of this Haryana. It is widely practiced, female infanticides. Apart from this, the other factor is also the sex selective system. Everybody wants boy child, and if there is girl child in the womb, they go for abortion. So this is a very modern and important phenomena. Even in Delhi we can see many hospitals having, though it has been banned, that abortion has banned, but board is hanging on the doctor's clinic. Clearly here this abortion is not allowed. It is legally banned. This type of board hanging all the clinics, it itself indicates some sort of abortion type of diagnosis is there. There is no need to hanging this kind of board. If it is banned, why they are hanging board that abortion is legally banned? This thing need not to I think indicate it near the clinics. It itself invites the people come for the sex selection and determination and for abortion. So these are the things very important and related to rural development we have to understand. And sex ratio is often neglected, and that's why the decline trend shows since 1901 till 2000, even today. And surprising, it's continue. Not only in rural area, illiterate sections, even in urban and literate sections following the same kind of treatment with their girl child, with their daughters, and this is a very distressful conditions. We have to change it. We have to understand it for proper rural development.
Actually, we, as Pradeep has mentioned, he has given already the reasons why we have these this kind of sex ratio, which is very lopsided. I mean, on one side you have the male, the number is more, and the females, the number going down. If you look at it, I mean, what is the basic reason? The basic reason is here, I personally feel, it's the anxiety. It's the anxiety of having a girl child. If you have a girl, daughter, you do not treat her as a source of who would be able to be carry on the family, in the sense that would not be a support to the family. Is basically a drain on the family. You educate the daughter goes out, gets married, and when you get married, when you get the daughter married, you have to give a lot of dowry to fetch a good groom. Whereas a son is sought after because people feel that they would look after the parents, they would take care of the family resources, they would add to the family resources. So this this idea of treating the male child as a family resource who would be able to maintain and add on to family resource, whereas the girl child is basically a drain on the family resource. This is the basic problem why we do not go for a girl child. Now, how would this change? This would change by proper education. This would change by proper demonstration. There are two things. One is education, in the sense that why do you treat a girl as a drain on your family? You invest on the girl and see whether the girl is a drain or a resource. You invest on the boy and you see how many of them are actually resources. How many of the old parents today have their sons living with them or taking care of them or adding to the family assets? If you make an assessment of these things, you would find, frankly speaking, many of the children who have come up, who are doing well, are taking care of the parents, are actually family resources. This desperate anxiety of treating girl as a burden has led many families to ruin, many families to unnecessarily getting into trouble which they are not required. Even people have committed murders. Earlier the trend was you kill the daughter when the baby is born. Now the trend is you get rid of the daughter before she is born. And that's happening nowhere else but in a place like South Delhi, which is perhaps the most prosperous places of the capital of this country. If it can happen here, then what would happen in a remote village where people are not so very well educated? It's not merely a question of education. It's a question of heart as well. It's a question of feeling for your child itself. Human beings are not human beings. They are just like animals. They're so self-centered about themselves, they can go to the extent of killing their own babies. Let the child come up, let the child grow, and see what you get out of the child. Why are you so very keen to get right from the beginning something out of the child? This mentality, this mindset is a desperate mindset. It's people who are not capable of managing their affairs create problems which are further complicated and which may put them behind bars as well. It's a simple thing. Have a child, whether boy or girl, how does it matter? Be happy with whatever you have got. Do the needful. See the child flower. Then you see what kind of fragrance it gives. If such basic understandings are not there among people, you will have such situations where the sex ratio is going to go down and down. What would that lead to? There will be fewer girls, there will be more men. What will happen when there are fewer girls? Lesser number of men will have women to themselves. What would happen then? Then that would lead to a lot of tensions among men themselves. Not only that, life would not be peaceful. So, one problem leading to another problem, which could be much more graver, much more complicated. So it is the duty of the government as well as those who are well informed to bring about an awareness among people that girls could be more valuable than boys. I don't say that boys are not valuable. They could be much more valuable. Because girls do not, after a certain period of time, they do not stay with parents. And just because they do not stay with parents, they have a much greater longing for parents. And those people who stay with them, after some time, they get used to parents getting old. Even they don't understand whether parents have become old or not. They treat parents this way they were they were young. They were capable. They forget that the parents need support. So what is the point of having a male child when he is not, capable, or is not willing to provide doesn't provide the right kind of support towards the end of life? You expect so much from your male child, but you don't get what you expect. You have killed your daughter just for the male child, but you don't get what you expected from your male child. So what is the fun in doing all these things? I consider this as sheer foolishness, nothing else. To eliminate girl child for the male child with the expectation that the male child would take care of you. If you make an assessment, the figures would show that more and more number of girl child are taking care of the parents, are more concerned about the parents. It is a little off from the demography, rural demography, as we were talking this session, but I think it's quite related.
Yeah, very much. So friends, I hope it must be very clear the perception of the people about their children and sex determination, why it happened, and so nicely explained the perception, people's perception and practices in our society. And this is a very particular and specific to rural society. This behavior is very much reflected and need to change. So sex ratio has a very important demographic component. After that, I would like to explain the age composition. As we discussed initially, that three important components: age composition, sex ratio and marital status. So now we are coming to the age composition. We divide the whole population in different category and see different category has how much proportion. Like in sex ratio we divide two category, male and female. Similarly, we in age composition we divide different age wise composition categories and try to understand how it affects our society and rural development. See the age composition of Indian population. Broadly we divide into three category. One is 0 to 14 category. The other is 15 to 64. That is the working group or productive force. And last is 65 and above. This is the broader three categories of age group everywhere followed. And the figure is like the corresponding figure of three categories are like children's up to 14 years is 32.7% according to 2002 survey, and while it goes down in 2003, 32.2. Similarly, in productive force from 15 to 64, the proportion is 62, the huge proportion productive force, that is the 62.6%. And again it goes down in 2003. If it is see the census projection, it is followed according to census projection. And last, the dependent population is 4.7, that is 65, old age population 65 and above. That is very less. In Indian situation it's very less. If we see in developed countries it is a huge, larger share of population, but here because life expectancy is less, so population above 65 is dependent population is less than 5%, that is only 4.7%. So overall age composition gives a very clear understanding how much productive force is available in a country. In India it is 62.6% productive force, while dependent population is, if we add 32.7 and 4.7, then it goes 37.4. That is approximate 38% population is dependent population and 62.6% is productive force, active productive force. There are some critiques and differences often raised on this productive force category. Somewhere it is considered 15 to 60 years, 15 to 62 years, but broadly the figure is like this, that is 62.6% is productive force in Indian situation. We can see some other component, that is marital status. As we talked earlier, the sex ratio, now we see the marital status, another very important demographic features. At what age male or female get marriage? Age of marriage is very important feature. Whole population growth, whole population size basically depends on this. And earlier we have legislation even pre-independence phase, and later on the most important legislation about this age of marriage is Child Marriage Restraint Act 1978. According to this, each girl should be married after 18 years and boys 21 years. And if anybody goes against this law, social legislation, there is a system for punishment. There are many other legislations related to marital status. Now the question arises, what is the significance of marital status? Does it any role in our rural demography or demography as a whole? It has a very important role. It shows what's the population growth size, at what age a female become mother. It's very important. What are the productive phase or period? Is it starts from 15 or 18 to 45 years? How much span of productive period, fertility period? It's very important, and it affects our population growth. If we see different states figure, it shows it varies. It varies like Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh has a very high, that is the age of marriage between 20 and 24 years of age. 82% of girls are married below the age of 18 years. It is the figure given by Census, National Health Survey, followed by those institutions. And it similarly, Chhattisgarh has very high low marriage, that is below 18 years girls are married, and boys are below 21 years. And in recent years we had many activities. There is group marriages, and all marriages has been solemnized below the given age in legislation, in the act. Similarly followed after the MP, Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan, 77% of the girls or boys married below the prescribed age, lower than that. Now they are in the age group of 20 and 24. They are married below that age. Similarly, Andhra Pradesh. See the proportion, how much marriages in that age group had less than that prescribed age. 70, more than 77, 77.8, 73, almost threefold of our population has lesser age of marriage what is prescribed in the act. So the policy and planning itself defeated with these indicators. In only few states shows a better picture, that is the Punjab, where is only 15.7 and Kerala 20.7, JK 23% of the girls or boys are married below the prescribed age. So even there are the marriages below the age given the age groups, and lowest is mentioned in the legislation, but the proportion is less. And this is also a very important feature to understand the rural demography. And thereafter we will discuss the migration, the last component, very important. In the initial earlier sessions that has discussed migration, particularly the rural urban migration. But migration pattern is three important pattern we can see, that is the rural to rural. There is also migration from one rural area, one village to other villages. There is migration from rural to urban. And third is migration from one urban areas to other urban areas. Maybe from town to a metropolitan city, from a smaller town area to better town or some higher grade of town, where employment opportunities, educational facility, health facilities are higher. So migration has three major important reasons. If we see what are the causes of migration, the three important causes. First is the most important, that is the employment. Because in the rural area or in the even other area where employment opportunities are less, people migrate in those areas where industries are located, where more employment avenues are available. So most important cause is the employment. Second is the education, because educational institutions are not available everywhere, and particularly the quality education is not available everywhere. It is mostly located in the urban areas, and that's why people from rural area migrate to the urban areas. And even urban area we see Delhi. Delhi has 3 central university rather than 4 central university, and if we see, none of the state having this much of 4 central university, and Delhi, a small place, having 4 central university, that is Delhi University, Jawaharlal Nehru University, Jamia University, and Indira Gandhi National Open University. So educational institution itself located in few areas. It is also one important factor of migration. Students, boys, girls migrate from one area to other area for better education, quality education. And third important cause is the health services, and this is also a very important factor. We cannot neglect this factor. Health facility is not available. Even in villages, there is a small dispensary, but doctor is not available. Other facility is not available. But most of the urban areas equipped with better health facilities, town area having better health facilities, and rural area has been neglected. How we expect without these facilities better rural development programs? So these are the neglected issues lead to migration. 3 important reasons. And now the question is, what are the consequences of migration? Need not to explain. Consequences is itself a sex ratio, different sex ratio. If we see the urban area sex ratio, it's a drastic change, less than 700 females for 1000 males. And see the Chandigarh, the figure is 700 something females per 1000 males. And similarly, the Delhi figure is very much following that. And this is one important indicator, the drastic unbalanced sex ratio.
Besides, it creates lots of uncomfortable situation for people to live, come all the way, live in a small area, and we are unable to go ahead with this. Maybe we will take another session on demography, but actually this whole migration has led to all kinds of problems. The slums of all the places are because of lack of rural development, and it is migration which has created a lot of problem from rural to urban. But there is another migration which is nothing wrong in it, rural to rural migration, which is basically takes place because of marriages. Girls from one village go to another village. You know, that kind of migration is not harmful, it is rather good. Whereas migration from rural to urban, which is really creating problem, and we would want even from urban to rural migration, if that can take place, it would be much better, because we have a lot of space in the rural areas. If they are developed, I think people would have a much better quality of life. We would take up more sessions if time permits, but unfortunately we had no questions from our students nor from any other viewer, so its enthusiasm is bound to get dampened. Thank you very much.
Thank you.